minutes here due to public safety. And do I have a motion of approval of the minutes from our last meeting?
So moved.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. I don't believe we have any public comment in queue. So we will move right into, for the sake of time, we'll move right into item 4, the updates, starting with Tresca Farm discussion and proposed plan of action outline. Ray, you're muted.
What we put together for the committee is sort of Ray and I brainstormed some of the projects or like a to-do list to that we have in the coming years to get the Strasker Farm set up from its current state to more farming and open to the public type of state. So a couple of the things that we're working on primarily now is starting to focus in on the cleanup. We did meet with Tony Straska last week with his attorney to try to encourage him to start getting rid of some of the trucks, cars, and whatever before the January 28th date, which the property reverts back over to the town. And we had an encouraging, and we had a good meeting with him, and he is going to be looking into calling a couple scrap metal places to come out and take a look at it. So hopefully we'll get rid of 10, 12, 15 various types of vehicles in the coming weeks. I think some of the other stuff is after we start focusing and cleaning up the property, do some testing and so on. You want to, yeah. And getting back to the cleanup, Ray did develop an RFP and forwarded it last week to the town attorney for her review. And our goal is to get it out in the coming week or two so that we would have a contractor in place in the January, February time period to start working on the cleanup once the year from closing runs up. We did get notice from the state that town did receive a steep grant that applied for $128,000 geared towards a educational barn. So that will be incorporated probably towards after we clean it up, and maybe what about the design?
Hello, all.
Hello, Ray.
Hey, musical chairs, I've been muted again. Just to get to parcels A and B. We're looking at maybe, these are for discussion items for the committee to consider over the next year or so. But the initial landscape and cleanup of parcel A and B, brush and small tree removal along New Britain Avenue and along the fence line on New Road. That would probably be one of the first things to do after we get all the vehicles out of that property. Also some brush and dumping has occurred at the end of Rhodes Landing, Rhodes Road, I should say. That needs to be cleaned up also. And we need to look at installing the gates, one on New Britain, one on New Road and one on Rhodes Road at the 2 entrance points. I've also mentioned possibility and recommended that we look at developing a master plan for the entire property. I know we had discussed this many times in the past. Maybe looking at acquiring the services of a landscape designer or a firm that specializes in open space planning and farmland planning, similar to what South Windsor did for the Priest Farm. We have quite a few advisory services we can fall back on to give us some guidance through the whole time period. You know, the Farmland Trust, Working Lands Alliance, Department of Ag, even Yukon Cooperative Extension, we can try to tap resources there too.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have a question for Ray.
Sure.
Ray, you didn't mention the Pathfinder Award, which was really amazing, but how were we nominated for that?
Well, we have to thank Kip for that, our friend Kip.
He nominated us?
Kip notified me that there was this Pathfinder Award, which I've never heard of. And he said the town, our Straska purchase would be a good fit, he thought. So after a few, maybe 3 weeks, he reminded me again. So I put together that quick write-up, sent it in, and the 2 cows showed up and presented the award.
Well, that's great. Thank you for your part in that. That was really wonderful for Rocky Hill.
Yeah, it was. The town should be proud.
You really.
Ray, you have some steps here, both with parcel B cleanup and then kind of moving forward with parcels A and B. What do you need from this committee, or what's the role of this committee to help move those items forward, or is there one?
I think the role for the subcommittee will be in the development of the master plan. You know, once we get a consultant on board, if we're going to do that, this committee should work with that consultant, I think. The other parts of this are really more of a mechanical, you know we have to clean it up. We know we have to go in an RFP. We have to do environmental testing. Those are all kind of laid out for us already. But I think in the developing of the master plan would be the key for the subcommittee to focus on.
Thanks.
Councilor Malaro, any questions or comments to the presentation so far?
No questions so far. Thank you. Thank you, Ed.
Brian Clemens?
Yeah, just talks in the beginning of a parcel B cleanup, complete environmental testing of parcel B and around the house. Has there been any testing done around the house, and that was that parcel A?
We've done phase 1 and phase 2 and supplemental phase 2 environmental testing for the entire site, including parcel B. What we need to do once everything is cleared off parcel B, Zubik Car recommends we go back and test those areas they couldn't get to because of the debris, the vehicles, the trailers, and what have you. So we do that once everything is cleared off the property. The house is separate. We haven't touched the house yet. Mr. Strask is still living in the house, so that will be later on in the process.
We didn't test the house at all before we did this deal?
No.
That's disturbing.
We're assuming the property, the house is probably, we know it's lead paint, probably asbestos.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I just want to let, like Sandy, you asked about the award. John Mayer and myself and Ray all had invites to the annual meeting, and which was the next day, and we zoomed in on their annual meeting, and where they discussed awarding that to us, and actually Ray actually had a great statistic that Rocky Hill, Ray, leads the state in total funds designated towards farmland preservation. So between the $10 million bond initially established, the monies put into the Bacchio deal, and the new bond for Straska, you said, you estimate the total is around 17 million?
Yep, between the $10 million bond referendum and the purchase of Straska, that's just over 10 million. With Straska's with Backyale's 2 parcels in the Hintz Farm, which we had cooperated with the Department of Ag in purchasing those development rights, in the Hayes Farm, and also Meadow Road, Cirillo Park.
Right.
You're probably, I would say, John, like $7 million total with those out of the bond referendum.
So we actually have the #1 spot in the state, to the best of our knowledge, and that's a feather, I guess, in our cap for being for leading the way on that, which will pay dividends, I guess, down the road. There's Ray, no farmers on the site right now working any of the 3 patches.
Correct. No, not yet.
And Ray, you mentioned that we got the STEEP grant. And I see there's a note here about the project starting in 2021. I assume that there's some like time banding for the use of those funds. What does that project timeline look like? Understanding that we're probably working over a couple of years to get a whole site plan done and implemented, but what does it look like for the STEEP grant and that aspect of it?
Oh, for the STEEP grant has a 2-year deadline. The towns may request an additional year, up to 3 years.
Okay.
Right now, we're just starting the paperwork. DECD has not gotten back to us with the assistance agreement yet. That takes a month or so to go through that process.
So Ray, what we were looking to accomplish, you're estimating the town needs to provide additional funds to the STEEP grant in the neighborhood of how much?
12,000. Possibly 12,000. It depends
Possibly.
it depends on when the bids come in. We need to.
I have a question.
Sandy?
Ray, do we even have a preliminary thought of what the design of the barn is going to be? I mean, you're talking about getting bids in and whatever. Do we know what we're looking for?
Yeah, for the grant application, I had to submit some plans. We submitted a conceptual plan, which you have in your package, as far as the location of the barn. What I did was I contacted and got some information from Clouder Farm, the Barnyard, and another similar business, just to get an idea, because it was a very short time frame.
Yeah, that was turned around very quickly.
Yeah. So what I did was, I don't remember the exact dimensions, but it's a 2-story full barn, windows, foundation. I included estimate for electrical work, utilities. The cost of the barn, I think, was around $75,000 to $80,000 just for the structure itself. It included a covered lean-to for possibly like a farm stand, for if the town ever wanted to do that in the future.
I see.
But I forget the square footage. It was like 40 by 24-ish, maybe larger.
All right. Thank you.
But that could change. I mean, the subcommittees also, which I should go back, the subcommittee will probably also be involved in that component to the actual barn design and how big you want it and what you might want it to look like.
Well, might it relate to the master plan that we're talking about developing? If we have a master plan, what's the use of the barn, specifically?
The barn use in the grant, we were looking, even with our discussions, was for utilization as classrooms. also for, connection with this farm to school program, 4-H. Could be utilized for people who would be doing community garden in the community gardens that will eventually be located there. So that could be utilized for storage and other equipment. And also could be utilized for a farmer's market. If the kids are doing anything there, they can display their, whatever they're growing. I'm not the expert in that field, but that was the idea for the barn.
All right, thank you.
Ray, would we be excluded from, I mean, I guess it depends on the size of the parking lot and things like that, but would we be excluded from potentially like renting that out to small events to the public?
I don't know.
It wouldn't, I don't think it would put us over the limit, Ray, on the bond requirement. We're not making anything anyways.
At this point, I don't think we probably could do that. We'd have to check with DECD to find out if we can do a moneymaker program, with that particular structure.
I mean, not that it would probably be a ton, and who even knows when we can hold these types of things again, but it might be a nice thing for people in the town to, depending on the size, small wedding or a family picnic, something like that. Who knows? The town people bought it, so it'd be nice, for them to be able to use it. Yeah.
Yes. So, Chris, Councilor Duff and myself are on a small working group that just got started, Chris, and maybe you could share with them a little. So it might involve this barn. There's some discussions, and maybe we could find out, how the committee feels about a possible idea.
Yeah, and I don't know, the way to formalize that. Sometimes there are naming committees that are formed for these types of things. But we are thinking about different ways. There's a number of folks on the committee who are thinking about different ways to honor former mayor and person of many titles, Joe Kohanek, and we were thinking perhaps one way might be to somehow associate the barn in Joe's memory. That's one of the ideas that a few others have been.
Yeah, there's many.
One of many competing ideas. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if we have anything else on that agenda there, Ray. Is there anything else there? I mean, I'll get to meeting, just possible action on our schedule for next year. But I mean, is anything else that we want to cover?
No, it's important to look at the schedule for next year so we don't have meetings like this.
Yeah, so
I think, and we got to get to the town council meeting because we got all these presentations. So
it looks
even
like
though
we're
Ray's muted, I don't understand why I had no trouble getting on my phone.
So it looks like we're moving the meeting to Tuesday, and then also to 5 o'clock. Is that the suggestion here instead of Monday?
Yes, sir.
Fourth Tuesday of the month.
Yeah, I know for me, I'm not sure about what other folks' schedules are, but if we're going to be looking at doing these in person again, 5's going to be tough.
Fran Whalen, 5's not going to be suitable for me either. It's too early.
I'm reading this right. Just the first 2 meetings next year on a Tuesday. The rest were back to Mondays, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, or the Monday's a typo because the note at the bottom says Tuesday.
Yeah, all those Mondays, no good. It's Tuesday.
They're all Tuesday?
Yeah. All Tuesday. 5:30, okay? Fran?
I prefer 6. 6 the earliest. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I could make 5:30 work if I had to. It'd be tight, but 6 would be better.
Anybody else?
I'm fine either way.
I can make either 5:30 or 6. I can make.
What's your pleasure?
John, do we have the room? Can we schedule it for 6?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's pretty free, that room for the fourth Tuesday of the month, yeah. Yeah,
Thank you.
So we'll be able to make that amendment to, the dates are fine. It's the time that we're changing to 6 o'clock. Is that correct?
yes, and it's the
Correct.
fourth Tuesday of every month.
And may I just ask, then there will be nothing between, well, then the council doesn't meet following that, right, on a Tuesday?
No.
So I'm just looking to have,
Oh.
we seem to do fine with a limited time, but it would be nice not to be squeezed, so that would be nice if we knew we had that open area after our meeting.
Yeah, that was the intent of changing.
Yeah, so, right, public safety has been the meeting that I've had to chair just prior to this, and it starts at 5:30, and we are just slammed. We have public comment, and we have just a lot of reports, and we're just bumping into this, cutting the chief short on their important reports. So it's a pretty active committee, so this helps out a lot if we can approve this. So do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor, or any discussion, any more discussion now?
Who
All in
made
favor?
who made the motion?
Brian Clemens made the motion.
No,
Counselor Duff seconded.
only the commission, only the council vote. They
Well,
make-
can we reverse that? Chris, do you
I'll
want to
I'll
second?
make a motion to approve the schedule as amended.
Brian, can you second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, thank you.
Or Ray, do we need John to second? What were you?
Yeah, let John second, please.
All right,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
John Malaro,
I second.
thank you.
All in favor?
Point of order, then you're gonna have to back up because I made the motion to approve the minutes. So that was illegal.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to, well, actually, we need to
motion-
wrap this
do-
up.
Right, do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Counselor
I'll make a
Duff,
motion to approve the minutes.
Counselor Malaro,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion to approve the amended agenda? Counselor Duff,
I'll make a motion to approve the amended schedule of meetings for 2021.
do I have a second? Counselor Malaro,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, thank you. One last motion. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
John, do I have a second? All in favor?
I have a second.
Aye, good night. Thank you for
Aye.
your patience and your indulgence in this
night.
meeting. Good night.
Good night.
Aye.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.